Good evening. The Toronto Raptors win in a hilarious comeback slash just complete choke job from the Wizards. I mean, amazing. This is the second Wizards game I've watched in the last 28 hours, and oh man, just incredible stuff. Jordan Poole, Kyle Kuzma, and the Wizards organization in general. And but I guess more importantly for this show, we'll get into all that, of course, but more importantly for this show, Pascal Siakam just willing this team to this victory. Like, they looked so fucking dead, man. Like, maybe even more dead than the Spurs games. They've had two of these games this year now, and it felt like in the first half that this was going to be like the Boston game again, where it's just like, what are you guys doing? Do you even enjoy playing basketball? It was like dead. It was absolutely dead. If you predicted a Raptors comeback in this, you are a savant. Started a YouTube channel. Just amazing stuff. 22-1 run down the stretch. I think the Wizards missed their last like 37 shots. And just oh my god, we'll get into the bonehead plays. Kuzma, Poole, just a masterclass in funny basketball. I loved this game, the second half of this game, as somebody who kind of likes some of the funnier stuff. And I'm sure if you're a Raptors enjoyer, you're happy with the win. I'll get to the chat. I'll get to the chat in a sec. Still processing. You know, I like to go live like right as the final buzzer kind of hits. Cause yeah, this one was really hitting, and I'm actually starting to enjoy these broadcasts. You know, I'm not as like
funnier stuff
mortified anymore. Yeah, like I'm just gonna check the chat here. Let's go. We stole one. I turned it off because it looked grim, but the Raps weren't about to let IOF. Who's IOF? Again with the what do you call it? Abbreviations that I don't know. Obviously don't like how we started, but the boys willed themselves to a win. Big props, Flynn Sanity. Yeah, we'll talk about the closing lineup as well, which was kind of fascinating. It was different than, have we ever seen Dennis and Malachi on the floor together? So that was kind of shocking. I mean, yeah, we'll get into everything, but obviously want to start off the top with Pascal. I thought in the first half he had a couple kind of sloppy turnovers, was missing a couple bunnies, but in the second half he just took over, and when he went off the floor, just the energy plummeted. It's like the players around him were just so much better. You know, even when Pascal went off, like Malachi immediately turnover, and then a quick not sexy three that he missed. Boucher missed a bunny and then complained about the ref, and which was very Kuzma-esque. That was another really funny play from this game. Incredible Kuzma. Oh yeah, we'll get to that. There's lots to get into here. Yeah, the bench, like the units without I'm curious to know what Pascal's plus minus was in the second half, because when he went off, like the whole thing just died. I don't know. He was just cooking. Like, he had this will, and the team was just like dead, and they've had a few days off, I think, and just his energy, like he was screaming after every bucket, screaming on defense, screaming at just like he felt like he just brought the whole team with him on his shoulders. And we've seen Pascal do this in the past, but definitely not this season. Like, it's felt like a long time since we've had a game like this where he just, puts the whole team on his back. And because some of the starters, man, were tough. Like, Dennis had a tough game. No OG, no Gary. Jakob had kind of a tough game. Talk about all that. Talk about Precious. But yeah, just what did wow, we got 3 internet tabs open. That's really fucking smart when you've got a post-game show that you're doing, is to have 3 fucking internet tabs open. Pascal Siakam, 39 points, 15 for 24, 38 minutes plus 18. Oh yeah, Otto Porter started this game. Minus 13. I completely forgot. Did he play a minute in the second half? Um, yeah, just yeah, not this bit early to get into the box score. I'll do that usually later in the show. But he also got to the free throw line 9 times, or 14 times. 9 for 14, still not amazing. He did have 6 turnovers, that's kind of the one thing I guess you could point at. The 3-pointers still not falling, 0 for 4. But I felt like he had a bit of an awareness to not go into the 3-pointer too much, especially down the stretch. He was just more getting to the basket. The Wizards' defense is just, both defenses were, I mean, the Raptors really picked up their defense in the second half, but the first half Raptors defense was insane. I guess one headphone is, I understand why people do the one headphone thing. So the first, because I didn't think Pascal was great coming like into like the first few shifts. I thought that the energy really picked up when Grady had a great game. Grady and Boucher came in off the bench along with Malachi and Precious. Precious had a pretty rough first half, but I mean, really rough. Actually, I got a Precious video coming out tomorrow. I'll talk about that after. But rough. It's the same thing with Precious. When he's around the perimeter, it's not good. When he's at the basket, it's good. So I think more in the second half, he was more around the basket, which is good. Again, establishing him more as a big and not a wing. I know there's still the dream of the wing thing, which I don't really get. But yeah, that first push, like Grady hits his first 2 threes. That was kind of the first time that there was any like vibe. It was like Daniel Gafford just cooking Jakob. By the way, Daniel Gafford is like the ideal name for like an EPL fullback, in my opinion, like, on Chelsea or something, or Liverpool, like Daniel Gafford, right fullback or something. That's in my notes. Mikey Muscala with the Mario tattoo. You got to love that. He had 3 turnovers in 7 minutes in the first half, so he was trying to help the Raptors out a little bit. But Gafford was great, rim defense, and Schroeder missing a bunch of shots. And Jakob had some good footwork down low, but he was also kind of struggling. I've noticed in a lot of these games, they're not closing with Jakob. They're closing with Boucher this game. Other games they've closed with like Scotty at center, small ball lineups. They don't seem to close games with Jakob. Again, the fit is still kind of weird to me. I felt like they played a lot better when he wasn't on the floor. No offense to Jakob, but what was he tonight? Jakob Poeltl minus 14 in a W. So, yeah. I continue to be a bit perplexed by the fit, but the Raptors just did a big comeback, so focus on that, you negative person. Okay, what's the chat going here? We got lots of people here. Holy shit. Internet Explorer. Internet Explorer says stop giving Pascal props. He always does this. Okay. He beats up on mediocre teams during the regular season, and then we lose in the playoffs. Update your Internet Explorer. What was this game? Jordan, 25 third quarter points for Siakam. Yeah, that third quarter. Jason Wynn just got off work. What rap played the hardest tonight? I mean, it's got to be Pascal. There's going to be the people who hate Pascal because they're not in the NBA, I guess, but Barnes with a lot of pouting. I didn't notice that. I noticed Kuzma pouting a lot. Basketball is a game of runs. 20-point lead isn't much these days. 22-1. Z shrugs. Barnes' body language was super disappointing. I didn't notice that. A couple people have said that now. What will happen with Barnes? Oh my goodness, guys. What is going to happen now? Oh my God, is this... You guys are so funny, man. You sports fans are so fucking fickle and funny. I love it. Scotty claps a lot. I need to quit Reddit. There were people unironically saying Siakam was stat pack. Yeah, man, get out of the Reddit. What are you doing? Siakam's last 3 games with the Wizards were 30-plus games. Denny Avdia proudly served in the IOF. Isn't it IDF? I think everybody in Israel has to. I remember hanging out with a dude in Thailand who's from Israel, and he was just like fresh off of his IDF thing, and he was trying to get his phone fixed from this Thai girl at a kiosk. She didn't speak any English, but he just thought that if he like screamed at her that it would like he kept, as she didn't understand English, he kept making his voice louder and louder, and then I just kind of slowly walked away and was like, all right, I met you on a fucking bus. I think I'm just gonna tap out and not really say goodbye. Let's see some Boucher love. Yes, we'll get to that. I feel like the Wizards lost on purpose. Let's talk about that. Wow, because okay, so on one hand, great comeback, really fun. A lot of people here behind me are excited, crossing the street here to come see the post game show. The Wizards, because I watched the game last night too with the Wizards. Man, Jordan Poole had like 4 turnovers. Jordan Poole had 2 assists in the last game, and like 4 assists to the Nets. I think they were playing. But yeah, no, tonight like the Wizards just completely collapsed. I mean, you have Kuzma trying to get a coach's challenge during a live gameplay, and then Scotty just goes in. I wouldn't say for an easy layup, but it was like, 5-on-4. You've got Kuzma stepping out of bounds with like 5 seconds left in a 1-possession game. I mean, even if Scotty's playing the best defense in the world on you, you can't step out of like you just you just can't do that. Like, you can't step out of bounds. You may as well just throw the ball in the air as high as you can. It's better than step. Like, you just can't do that. As an NBA player making millions of dollars, you cannot step out of bounds with 5 seconds left in a 1-possession game. It's just insane. Like, absolutely insane. But felt very on brand with what the Wizards. I don't know what the Wizards' strategy was down the stretch. Like, I get Jordan Poole is like, I've made fun of Jordan Poole quite a bit. I made a video on Twitter of me trying to like recreate Jordan Poole's bag. He will do like whatever the more difficult move. But this is one thing I've noticed about Jordan Poole. Like, he adds so much difficulty to his game. Like, there was one play down the stretch where if you do a lefty layup, this whole game is different. But he had to do like the reverse righty scoop. He's on the left. Like, do you have no left hand? Is this like a Jaylen Brown situation? Because he was at like a shoulder angle where, like, I'm sure you can see it in your brain, Jordan Poole, like just at like the weirdest. I have a fucking basketball here. I think I got a basketball here. It's like, I guess I can't really I don't know. That doesn't really work. Wow. I learned that. Don't need a basketball on the set. But he'll be just at an angle. I'm sure you can see in your brain where like it makes so much sense to shoot it, just do it with your left. But he has to like make it sexier and do this like right-handed scoop thing where like you have to put like it's not even backspin. It's like side backspin to get that up, and of course it goes off the backboard, off the rim, and out. Whereas if like you just did it with your left hand, it would just be like you're right. I don't know. Anyways, I would go insane if I had to watch him play basketball. Again, he has lost so much brand value. It's kind of like Marcus Smart, as Will said, losing the ringer. Jordan Poole losing the Warriors is a tough hit to the brand, tough hit to the vibe, to the energy, because like it's so on display now, like his game, and the fact that he's paired with Kyle Kuzma is so funny. You've got Koulibaly, who's so raw. Like, I get the upside. I watched a bunch of his draft videos. He was on a team with Victor. Apparently, he did a lot of the same workouts with Victor, so that's cool. Obviously, he's like super dedicated, and he's a great defender. He had a couple really good defensive plays, but man, on offense, it's like I don't remember really one kind of like cool, good, productive offensive thing. He's got a long way to go. Yeah, I mean, you got Tyus Jones it's a really weird team. I do like Daniel Gafford though. Daniel Gafford seems pretty useful. The most embarrassing win of the season. Bob Charlie. That's a cool name. Ring Papa. Probably Otto's first minus game. Jordan. Stop bringing politics into sports. Shut up and dribble. Shut up and podcast. Danny Avdia. Proud. Oh, I already got that. The Wizards remembered. We fought for the win and y'all complain. Yeah, the chat seems sometimes gets shitty. I don't know. Like, I don't know how old some of you guys are. Like, not to be a dick, but I feel like some of you are like 21 or something. I would go insane if I had to watch you play basketball. Yeah, just look on Twitter. I post some clips. Watching this team is no good for my health. I'm about to stroke out early. Can't be good for my blood pressure. Richard Spoon. Funny how people that don't play like to be a critic. Funny how you're in the fucking chat watching somebody who doesn't play. That's even funnier. Bruh, how do the Raptors come back? Man, it was so much like a Pascal on off thing. Like it not to be that simple, but when he stepped, like the moment he stepped off the floor, they just started making errors, and they kind of reverted, because the first half, like I don't know how many times the shot clock got down to like, they had so, like I don't know how many turnovers. They had a bunch of turnovers tonight. I'm fucking caffeinated. I'm fucking stoned. Let's get the fucking box score fired up here. How many turnovers did your Toronto Raptors have tonight? I feel like it was 22 turnovers tonight. And four of them I think were shot clock violations. There's one baked in my brain of Precious like driving and kind of like stepping and the shot clock went off. There was a bunch of those, and I feel like more of those possessions happened when Siakam wasn't on the floor. He was just getting the ball on the perimeter and just driving, like just, and you felt it when he left the floor. Like it didn't really feel like Scotty had a few really good drives, a few really good plays, but in general, like the energy just wasn't there. Like it dropped. It kind of fell off a cliff. There was nobody who was just like destroying people, punching their way into the paint. And he and like, to his credit, he made that shot right at the end where I was like, we talked a lot about Pascal's like fourth quarter shortcomings and late in games. And even though he had made so many shots, when he made that shot with like, I don't know how many, like 12 seconds left in the game or something, I was like, ooh. It just went in. Like it just had enough spin on it, front rim, just like it just went in. But I felt like at that moment you could kind of exhale. I don't even want to talk about the first half. Like, fuck, man, I got some notes from the first half. I don't even want to talk about the first half. Let's talk about the closing lineup. So Boucher to close, Malachi to close, Dennis to close. So just that in itself, if you're like, okay, and great move by Darko to figure this out, and I thought he did a great job, like trying to get juice, trying to find some combination that worked. And I mean, I guess, yeah, Gary and OG are out, but still, like if you told me that like Dennis, Malachi, Boucher, Dennis, I don't know how Dennis had a pretty tough game. But Malachi and Boucher were huge in the comeback. Like Chris did have that one play where he biffed the layup and then was complaining to the ref didn't get back. They got an open layup. But other than that, like he definitely hit 1-3 in the corner, maybe 2. Just his transition play has gotten so much better. He's not taking more than one dribble in transition. I mean, that's always been such a huge thing for him in the past, is like he's running the floor and someone will pass it to him like 3-4 dribbles away from the hoop, and he'll try to do it. He'll try to take it. He'll try to go 1-on-2 or 1-on-1 even. Sometimes is a struggle. And this time it just feels like he's one dribble and then going into a shot, or just taking it and dunking it. And again, like the Raptors close the game with him instead of Jakob. Surprising. They closed the game with Malachi and Dennis. I mean, no Gary is going to factor into that a little bit, but still don't know if we've seen that lineup. But man, it was really effective. And Jordan Poole with a bit of a greasy little it wasn't little, I guess it was pretty big on Scotty Barnes. And I just thought that was frustration from the Wizards. Like, it's a shitty feeling, as a community. As someone pointed out, I'm not in the NBA, so as a community basketball player, when you're up by like 100 points and then you can feel it like slipping away, and all the momentum, the crowd got really into it. The crowd was fucking dead in the third quarter. Crowd was really into it. The Raptors were really into it, and just like every time down the floor, the Wizards just kept making stupid turnovers, stupid mistakes, taking bad shots. Jordan Poole trying to, like, again, the only guy in the NBA who does too much yoga, just bending in weird fucking ways. Let's see if the chat's any better. Have you guys got any better in the chat? How do you not? How don't you have 20K subscribers? I mean, its channel's just turned 2 years old, so that's maybe part of it. Plus, I'm like not very smart. I don't have any media connections. I don't have like any money or anything. So that's maybe part of it. But later, maybe later, I will talk about a new kind of not trick, but like system I found with YouTube Shorts that I think will help grow. But I'm not like super bent on like growing or whatever, or like making decisions based on the algorithm and stuff, even though I have like a bit general of an idea of. I used to work for the tech company that anyways, that's fucking boring. We'll get into that later. Precious awkward as fuck with the ball. Yeah, I put a tweet out saying like Precious Achua, throwing a salmon violently up and down at the half court, and Matt and Alvin are like, this is Precious Achua. You see, like he has a creative and unique approach to the sport of basketball. Yeah, he has looked really rough, but again, as I said before, he's good when he's at the rim. He's not great in the perimeter, and I felt like second half he figured that out a little bit, but it was still a bit of an adventure. The next episode dropping tomorrow, I think season 3, episode 19. Get roasted, Mr. Spoon. Who's Mr. Spoon? The Raptors wouldn't even win the play-in tournament. Talking about playoffs is a huge jump. Siakam haters are quiet right now. Yeah, I think like people who pick players to like are weird. I don't even like the Raptors, so I don't understand this whole like liking certain players and not liking other players. I don't know. Maybe I should. I'm a fucking content creator, but I'm just kind of detached. Sports to me is just like something funny and like an escape from all the trauma I have in my real life. Just watching sports is like an escape for me, I guess. I don't know. Is that stupid? Probably. Somebody tell me if that's stupid. Siakam iso ball for the win. I don't know. I kind of, I guess, a little bit. I mean, I think with the Wizards defense and like how they were, it felt reminiscent of like the Dallas game with Tim Hardaway Jr. and Josh Green, was it? It's like, it's like Denny Avdia and Corey Kispert. Like, you get Siakam onto one of those guys, like, yeah, I mean, ISO is going to be your best, highest percentage probably play in that offense if you've got that much of a height mismatch. And a Wizards team that is just not great at defending. I thought Daniel Gafford protecting the rim was pretty much like the highlight. The Raptors perimeter defense was atrocious in the first half. They really cleaned it up. And even on that end, I thought Pascal, without OG there, kind of anchored the defense during the run in the second half. And I just loved how he was screaming after every play and freaking out. The chat. Bob Charlie. The defense has been bad against good teams. No way they make the playoffs. Again, I don't have like a crystal ball. I don't really make predictions because I used to work in stock market media, and that's how you get your home address posted, is when you're like, this stock's going to go to $7 and it's at 40 cents. So yeah, I don't do any predictive content. So if you're here for that, I don't know, go to like a different channel, I guess. I don't want any of you guys coming to my house and killing me because I said that the Raptors would make the playoffs. Shout out to Grady. Once he becomes more decisive, he's going to be a problem. Yeah, again, Eric Wright. Eric's a good guy. Some of you guys are dicks, but Eric's a good guy. I remember Eric from the last game. And some of you guys only show up, some of you people only show up for the wins. I've noticed that too. Bob Charlie, where were you when the team lost? The tank comments, if they wanted to tank. Scotty, 5 steals. I didn't notice he had 5 steals. Okay. Kuzma and Poole, the most hilarious talented boneheaded duo in the NBA. Top 6 pick for Pirtle. Yeah, I've talked about this. It doesn't look amazing, at this moment, but things can change. But as of today, that's a tough one. Again, I've said like Koloko in this lineup would be really nice, or a Koloko archetype. And just my personal thought is I probably would have liked to see a more serious Koloko or Koloko archetype player before they went and got the big $80 million center. Like they went from like no center, basically Precious and Thad. Like Thad was getting serious center minutes last season, to going out and getting the kind of bigger piece when it's like maybe there could have been a little bit more experimentation with a more athletic big, but it felt like for whatever reason there was pressure to make the play-in game, so still don't understand that, but that's last season. And I've talked about that with my therapist quite a bit, so I've moved on from it. Step back from the ledge, Mr. Moment. Yeah, that's it's good for retention. At any time I could fall into a dump truck. That would actually be welcomed, I think. Poole is the best chucker in the NBA. Pascal was superb. Well, you got lots of comments here. Eric Wright. Barnes is still poised for progress this season. Bob Charlie. Eric Wright, no, not after that atrocious game. Wow, Bob's really not having a good night. Lots of fighting in the chat. No business winning this game. Like every other superstar, how can you watch this game and then call someone a casual for not thinking we'll make the playoffs? Sometimes I don't know if you guys are talking to me or other people. Precious plays like he was drunk or high. I take exception to that. He definitely plays like he's drunk, but I think when you're high, you play a lot better, in my opinion. And I'd be willing to prove that on camera at some point. That's where the content's going in the future, by the way. Pensair going to find a way to blame Siakam for the team being in the deficit. How do you blame Siakam for being in the deficit? What does that mean? The deficit. The Wizards had to miss 10 shots in a row. Okay. Pensair still believing that Scotty Barnes is the only good basketball player in the NBA. How do you not have 20,000 subscribers? Thoughts on Kevin Vaughn career stats? Convinced the Wizards through investigation. Boucher's energy was needed. How was the officiating tonight? I didn't really notice the officiating. Okay, here we go. Here's an interesting one. Dennis rolled his ankle twice in the last few games. Hope he's good. So we know that Dennis has had some Achilles issues, and he was on the Raptors show last week, I think, or the week before, and he talked about, like, Will asked him, like, have you been skateboarding recently? Because Dennis is, like, a pretty good skateboarder. And he was like, no, I can't really. It looks bad, and B, like, I have this ankle problems. But I think he's also talked about how skateboarding has helped like strengthen his ankles. So, but yeah, he definitely rolled his ankle. I think I wrote it down, but it didn't seem to bother him too much. Like, he got back up and was running around again, but ankles are weird. They can, like, you get that adrenaline and the blood flowing, and I don't know what the scientific term for that is, but, like, hopefully he's all right. Nameless says Precious is living on another planet right now. Pensair is the only Raptor. What is everybody talking about Pensair? Pensair is the only Raptor fan that would show up at your house. Okay. That would be fucking frightening. But yeah, if you go into the stock market world, don't pick stocks don't say stocks are going to go to a bunch of money. Just don't do it. Do not fucking do it. But yeah, let's go through the box score a little bit, because we're at that point. Dennis Schroeder 1 for 12 from the field. Tough game. Managed to get 6 assists, but 35 minutes. He wasn't impactful as he's been. I'd say this is his first, like, really bad game of the year. So, I mean, whatever. Scotty, pretty inefficient, 8 for 17. I just felt like there was a lot of traffic. Like, a lot of the drives had traffic, some difficult shots. Just a bit of an off game for him, but I mean, whatever. Otto's 2 for. So my only complaint with Otto is, like, for some reason on Twitter, Otto just tweeted out the numbers 0 to 500 in individual tweets. So I've had some fun with that. 69 to 420. you know. But I said, like, I need 423s from you a game, and he only took 1 3 in 14 minutes. Like, that's kind of his calling card. And against his former team, I thought he would maybe try to make it rain, but he didn't really have the juice tonight. Some of the starters did not see minutes in the second half. Like Otto -13 did not see minutes in the second half. Did Jakob play at all in the second half? If he did, it was like not for Jakob, only 24 minutes. I feel like this has kind of been a trend where Jakob's not really playing to close games. I mean, he was 6 for 8 tonight, so he wasn't biffing bunnies as he normally does. His footwork's actually pretty nice down low, but the lack of athleticism, the lack of speed, it's glaring on a roster that is kind of built on speed and athleticism instead of shooting. So when you have a guy who like just does not have that at all, it just really sticks out like a sore thumb. But then the bench really provided, like Boucher. Jalen McDaniels played 5 minutes in this game. He missed a layup, 0 for 1. Rough. It's been rough so far for McDaniels. He played pretty good in the preseason, I thought, and he comes in the game and he seems to either get a turn, like every game the last, I don't know, 8 or 9. How many games have they played? He seems to be like either 0 for 1 or like 1 turnover in like 4 or 5 minutes. They're just not getting great minutes from him off the bench. And it continues to be one of those things where I don't understand why he's getting in before like that or Garrett Temple. Just seems like it's like how many, but whatever. That's not really a huge point. But Precious, he had it was an adventure. I don't know how he only had 2 turnovers. That doesn't seem right. But I mean, 5 for 8. He only took 1 3, which is good because the next video I have of coming out tomorrow is him taking that weird 3 next to Dennis in the corner. But, he played 19 minutes and played a lot down the stretch. Ended up being a +8, 10 points. I don't know if you call it, you can kind of, I guess for where we're at with him, it's a bounce back game. And especially with like no OG and no Gary, you needed, he needed those 10. You definitely needed. Precious led bench scoring. That's kind of surprising. So you definitely needed that punch from him off the bench. And then Malachi, when Pascal went off, I thought Malachi kind of dipped a little bit, but he was really big he was there I think he was on for pretty much the whole comeback and didn't take a ton of shots, only went 2 for 5, 6 points, only 1 assist, which is surprising. Maybe he partially because he was on when, there weren't a lot of assists tonight. Actually, someone mentioned Pascal doing iso ball. Pascal led the team in assists. So there, you know what I mean? Dennis was off. Dennis took some ugly shots, was bad. It's nice even in the off game, Scotty's still there defensively. What were the gambling odds when the Raptors were down? I don't know. I wish I understood how like gambling worked. I just know how I know the ins and outs of how sports betting companies work. I know how they operate on an 8 to 10% profit margin. Customer acquisition costs are extremely high. So that's why when you can get $200 bonus bet on like a $5 bet because, their product is so addictive that they're willing to take the upfront loss and they'll get you 2 years later when you lose a bunch, whatever. I know how like VC and former crypto people, come together in Vegas and they get a shell and then they do a reverse takeover sometimes and then they'll like, do all this shady shit. I know how all that works, but I don't actually know like +100 or +250 or whatever the fuck. So running Precious and Boucher together should get you fined. Didn't they like close the game though? You've had some misses tonight, Mr. Hermes Curry, bro. Because normally, they haven't been great, but I thought tonight that's a weird thing to notice. But maybe I gotta watch the game again. I feel like I've tried to brand myself as a dumb guy. I don't know. Like I don't try to be an expert. Like I'm a fucking idiot. Like look at my backdrop. I got the goggles and the head. Like it's all stupid. Like I don't know. Had me thinking Jalen McDaniels could play basketball. I forgot he played. Second half when the pace was high and he could grab boards. Malachi's defense is turning borderline elite. Yeah, I made a reference when I was filming last week in the Philippines, that he, like in the Philippines, a lot of the guards are like 5'7" to 6'2", and because of that height, not disparity, but like because of the general height in that league, they just pick each other up full court and like beat the shit out of each other because they're small and like they have to do that basically. And Malachi, obviously, I made the video with him and Victor. Not obviously, but I made the video with him and Victor. And, kind of funny, because he's the smallest guy on the floor. And Victor was like, fuck, I gotta get rid of it. Malachi's here. But, yeah, he's like picking up his guy pretty much not full court, but like as close as you can kind of get. He stays on his man. Like he moves through screens really well. He'll chase his guy around the perimeter really well. Like he plays his man-to-man defense is very good, and like Bobby talked about, like it has to be like when you are that height, and he has the speed. I don't know what his wingspan is, but it seems like his wingspan is like decent for like a 6'6". What is he, 6'1"? Seems like maybe 6'4", 6'5" wingspan. So yeah, he's been really effective on defense. I think that there's nothing you can really pick at with Flynn Sanity's defense. I think a couple of Eric Flynn's homies have like added me on Twitter or something. So not added. Wow, I'm fucking old. Malachi's defense is elite until someone sets a screen on him. Yeah, I don't know. It worked in the second half, but didn't work in the first. Someone smarter can figure out why. It worked in the second half, but not in the first. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. This wasn't like a game with a lot of I don't know, brilliant like X's and O's type of strategy. Like let's look at the Wizards. I thought Marquise Noel might get a couple minutes tonight. That was rumored on the Kyle Kuzma, despite his late game just I don't know, brain going fucking frying, like 14 for 25. I mean, not amazingly efficient, but it felt like they really needed all of that. 34 points, 4 for 7 from 3, but he was really the only, like Jordan Poole. I feel like this is the perfect Jordan Poole stat line. 6 for 16, 2 for 6 from 3. 6 assists, okay. 6 assists and 3 steals, like okay. 4 turnovers, minus 12. Like that's the 6 assists is nice, but that's a pretty good. That's a pretty solid Jordan Poole stat line. 6 for 16, and I'm looking at the one thing I'm looking at here is Daniel Gafford, 26 minutes. I thought he was great tonight. And this is another weird thing. Like they used to have Robin Lopez, Brooke Lopez's brother, twin. I don't know if he's still in the NBA anymore. Can somebody tell me if he's still in the NBA or where he's at? But like he used to cook the Raptors, and he had lots of really creative footwork and finishes around the rim and like weird ass hook shots. And there was many games where he would only play like a few minutes, and it's like I didn't understand why. I don't understand why Gafford played 26 minutes tonight. I thought he was great for them. He was 6 for 7. He had 3 blocks plus 7. Why is he playing 26 minutes? If I'm like, I don't. Yeah, that's just like weird to me. I don't even understand. Like, who are they closing with? Who is the big that they were closing with down the stretch? Like, Muscala only played 7 minutes, 3 turnovers. Was like Koulibaly playing center for them, basically? That, and like Kuzma, I guess? Where the fuck are their centers? Washington used to, I'm just looking at their team. Where'd all their centers go? Washington used to have like Thomas Bryant, Robin Lopez, Daniel Gafford was like the third center. Where the fuck did their centers go? They only went with 4 guys off the bench: Kispert, Muscala, Shamet, Koulibaly, and Shamet only came in like, I think Shamet. Is it Shamet or Shamet? Why am I saying Shamet? Landry Shamet, whose curse was broken last year. He comes in like I don't know, 6 minutes or something in like the third quarter. Um, I guess, yeah. And then you've got, Sportsnet running the LaMelo Ball commercial during live play. Is LaMelo Ball a thing in Canada? I don't know. I'm in my 30s, so I don't really know what LaMelo Ball is. But can we get another Darko impression in the locker room? I gotta practice my Darko. It's basically just Russian, I think, with like some few. I like studied it a little bit in the summer, like the differences between Russian and Serbian accents, just with like how they pronounce vowels. I think it's pretty similar. So maybe I should, because there's not really much much else I can think of from this game. Like, it was just, they went on a 22-1 run, and the Wizards missed their last, I don't know, it felt like 25 shots, but I think it was like 10 or something. And just Kyle Kuzma stepping out of bounds, Kyle Kuzma wanting the challenge, Jordan Poole, just stupid shots, just exactly what you would expect from the Wizards. Not really what you'd expect, I guess, kind of from the Raptors, but just in the way it happened with who was there. Like Boucher and Malachi just being such a big part of the comeback is like pretty unpredictable. And I thought, you can make the point that Pascal has cooked the Mavericks and the Wizards, who are putting like Tim Hardaway Jr. and Danny Avdia on him, but I don't know. I don't really do bigger narratives, I feel like, or I try to avoid the bigger narratives because I don't know. I have short memory or something, or it's just boring to me, I guess. It's what everybody else does, so. Not that I'm unique or different or anything, but I don't know. Just you see so much of that shit. I don't really. Again, home address posted. I'm thinking of. I was gonna do this in the summer. Now we'll talk about content. So I think that was probably it from the game. We'll talk about give the awards out in a bit. But in terms of Raptor Moments content, I was thinking about doing in the summer. I didn't end up doing it, but I scripted a bunch, like tutorials on individual Raptor players plays. So, how to yeet a three like Kyle Lowry, and how to shoot behind your head like Chris Boucher. And it's like all the workouts and flexibility stuff, like gymnastics rings, booty bands, whatever the bands are fucking called that are not booty, like the regular bands, medicine balls, slam balls, like stretches, yoga. As someone pointed out in the chat, I'm not an NBA player. But I have watched a lot of NBA workout videos and like try to mimic some of that stuff with myself on the court with no gym money or anything. So I just kind of DIY it. So I've thought about, I know a lot of people in the chat will hate it, and they hate me even though they watch me, which I actually, that part I do get. Hey, watching people is very important. I actually do that as well. So I'm glad I'm providing that service for some people. But I wrote down tonight, how to shoot a free throw like Jakob Poeltl. So it's going to be like aiming for that back. Like I can already see the thumbnail. It'll be like a circle around the back of the rim, like I would call it like the throat back, kind of the back, of the back of the rim, aim here. And it's going to be about like driving as much force in like a line drive motion straight and downward, and having it, because the goal is you want it to hit off of the back of that rim as hard as it possibly can. That's the Jakob. I was going to do a Fred one too, but then Fred left, but it would be like how to shoot a pull-up three like Fred VanVleet, and it'd be like aim here, and it's like the bottom right corner of the backboard. Like I want them to be funny. How to shoot behind your head like Chris Boucher is a good one, because it's a joke, but then it's also like kind of a tutorial on how to get a higher release point, because he's literally got like, it's like way back here. So like if you can learn to like get this, if you can get this motion stronger, you can shoot behind your head, and it's honestly not that different from shooting like here mechanically. I mean, it is, but there's certain mechanics that are the same. So if you build strength up like that, you can shoot behind your head like Chris Boucher. I don't know why anyone would want to do that, but it might be a fun video. What's the chat saying? Does the chat still hate me? Raps were on a 22-1 run. Pascal's eyes were super bloodshot in his interviews. He was intense tonight. Maybe he was stoned like me. Wizards didn't score in the last 5:47. Oh my, was it 5:47? No way. I didn't know it was that much. That's fucked. Maybe it really was like 38 shots at 547. God, someone mentioned Reddit earlier. That's gonna be all over fucking fucking Reddit. Wow, 547 is crazy to close a game out. To not score in the last 547 of an NBA game that's insane. No matter who you have on the court, I could score in the last 547. Behind my head, like Chris Boucher, I just started launching. Here we go. Zimstar, man. I was at the game tonight. That comeback was so fun to watch. Yeah, I mean, props to the crowd. They were like, the crowd did not seem vibing in the third quarter, and neither was the Twitter crowd. So totally understandable why, I guess. But I felt like they really came to life in the second half and really kind of, cliche. I was at a Canucks game in 2004, Canucks Red Wings, and the announcer said to bring the energy, and I feel like I've been doing it ever since. So yeah, props to the people in the stadium who are also bringing the energy. You could feel it through the television set in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. So shouts to the people at the game. Hey bro, are you in India? Does this look like India? It's not even close, but no, it's secret, but I guess it's the same continent, but it's like, it's technically the same continent, but it's basically as far as you could get from India while being in the same continent. See if that's a fun game to play. It's a fun game to play. See if you can figure that one out. I get the Wizards are tanking, but that can't be a great foundation to work on. Yeah, I mean, for people who love tanking, I watched the Vancouver Canucks accidentally tank their franchise. So it's, I mean, they kind of had to in a way. Like the Wizards were fucked, man. Like Ernie Grunfeld was bad, man. Bad contracts, really bad contracts. I mean, the Beal no trade. I mean, not to get into that again, but the Beal no trade clause. Honestly, like if I was a Wizards fan, I don't love Jordan Poole at all. I would not want to build. I don't know if they're building around him or if he's just. I think Jordan Poole just kind of exists. Like I don't know if anybody's building around him. If you want a funny video, actually, after this, go watch Fred VanVleet beat Jordan Poole 19-4 one-on-one. It's kind of old, but it's still very funny. But yeah, he's got a $32 million, I think it's $32 million a year contract for 4 years or something. So yeah, that's exciting. Put me on the floor with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. Yeah, he really benefited from that system, like because that situation for him was like kind of perfect because Steph plays kind of very loosey-goosey. The Warriors are famous for having lots of turnovers and not giving a fuck. That's, part of the cost of doing business for them. So they got annoyed at Jordan Poole. I mean, that's pretty clear. There were a lot of plays, where you could just see like body language. Not that I'm a body language expert, but you can kind of read, the situation and obviously the punch and the whole fallout from that. And yeah, that was in a way like the perfect place for him. But obviously he didn't see it that way. I think he's kind of a grass is greener type folk from what I've seen from him. And the type of guy who like wants his own team and wants to shine. But I mean, I made a video about his last game, played against the Raptors. He was 1 for 15. Tonight he was better. He was 6 for 16, better than 1 for 15. But this is kind of what it looks like. And I watched the game last night too. And it's like, this is what it looks like. Jordan Poole last night had 3 turnovers down the stretch in a 1-possession game. It was crazy. He had 2 assists and gave the other team 3 buckets in a 1-possession game. And they won by like 10, the Nets, I think it was. I mean, I don't know how, I would not want to, if I'm rebuilding, I would not want that to be part of the rebuild, but also, how do you really trade that contract? Like Chris Paul was probably an easier contract to trade, but again, not a GM. That's MF Singapore. No, it's not. But okay. So I guess we're kind of past the basketball part now. So I landed in. Okay, so landing. If anybody's flown into Singapore, tell me in the chat, because it was like one of the scariest experiences of my, not of my life, but like so we flew in from Indonesia, I think, and they come in over the loudspeaker on the airplane and they're like, welcome to Singapore, blah, 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 blah. There is a warning. Certain drugs carry a death penalty in Singapore. These include marijuana. And I'm like, you know, at that time I hadn't smoked weed in like 7 years or something, but I was like, fuck, like what if there's like a nugget or trace in my bag or something? And then the other one's like, if you remove a life vest from the aircraft, it's like 12 years in jail. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that. I hadn't thought about doing that, but I'm definitely not going to do that. You get to the airport and there's a butterfly garden and a movie theater. It's very beautiful. But the first thing that I saw in Singapore after the airport, trust me, this story is going somewhere. The first thing I fucking see, like we get on the highway. It's my girlfriend at the time. It was her friend's apartment. We turn off the highway and we turn onto Toronto Street, which intersected with Ontario Street. You can look this up on a map, and I actually screenshotted this because in Singapore, there's an intersection of Florida Street and Toronto Street, and I screenshotted that and was like, Scotty Barnes of Singapore. Put that on Twitter once upon a time. That's my Singapore story. I don't know if they still do this, but they require you to put the cleanliness of your restaurant at the front. So like when you're going to get lax or whatever, it'll be like A, B, C, whatever. And that's how clean the inspector said it was. I think that was pretty cool. But yeah, definitely a bit of a nanny state. Felt like when you get on the buses, it's just this weird, like they treat you like a child. Like don't, you know. And it was Zika virus era. So you get a $5,000 fine for having a mosquito in your apartment. Not even kidding. Look that up. It's like, I made way too many jokes about that, but yeah, that was crazy. Singapore. Did you go to UVic? I did. How the fuck did you know that? Did you go to UVic? Who are you? I've had one person who I thought was fucking with me, like know who I was, but I thought, or like didn't know who I was, but they were a friend IRL, and they were like, oh shit, that's you? Like that was kind of funny. My guess is Korea. Wrong. Think further than Korea. I guess it's not the furthest, but Philippines. No. Kuzma had 6 turnovers and Poole had 4. It's Vladistovic. I don't know what that is. Look at that crosswalk. Hit and runs everywhere. Everyone on Reddit is saying, Zimstar Man says, everyone on Reddit is saying that the Raptors don't want to keep Siakam with a K-U-M. This would make me sad. I want to keep Siakam. I love him. Hermes Curry Bro. And why did that fucking go out? Are you kidding me? White Noise. I'm listening to White Noise and it just went out. But it's back now. Poole says he likes having his own team and being able to play his own brand of basketball. Yeah, I saw that. He kind of put out a thing being like, yeah, I got everything I wanted from Golden State. I got the ring. I got the contract. I mean, yeah, I guess that's pretty good, you know. But I remember going from like gold soccer, I think, to like rec league just because I wanted to tally up the fucking goals. And I would like show up baked games and became like a whole joke. And it was fun, but I wouldn't want to do that for more than a year. But yeah, it is fun to just like go down a level and just have your usage rate like increased, even at the community level. So I would imagine at NBA level, it's super fun. But yeah, he definitely has not made the most of it. Just so many dumb fucking shots that like, I don't know. What's he shooting this season? Look that up after. Wizards won't work out. They're not building anything. Another poverty franchise. I mean, I'll give the new management group a chance, but pretty much they need to bring back the Bullets jerseys. I know the whole Bullets thing. I think that was around the DC Snipers that they changed it. I could be wrong about that. By the way, that's like the craziest story ever. If you're ever looking for just an insane fucking... If you're into like serial killer and crime stuff, look up the DC Snipers. It happened like a year after 9/11, and I feel like if it happened like 10 years after 9/11 or before or whatever, like just not in that window of 9/11, it would have been like a way bigger story. I definitely wrote out like an outline for how I would do a Netflix series on like I did way too much research. This was during the pandemic. I went so fucking deep into this story, not to start talking about that, but crazy story, man. Crazy story. And right down the road from me, part of it happened in Bellingham, Washington. So I remember when it hit me as a kid, like watching it on the news and being like, fuck, they were like right down the highway from us. Scary shit, man. Why are we talking about the DC snipers? Steph's gravity got him a lot of open shots. Yeah, definitely. And I feel like I remember something about his on-off numbers with Steph it was, again, pretty much anybody's going to benefit from that. Unfortunately, the Warriors didn't seem to factor that into the calculations when giving him that contract. But I mean, I think I've only watched 1 or 2 Warriors games this season. But yeah, I mean, if I'm the Warriors and I want to win a championship, I would way rather have Chris Paul than Jordan Poole. And again, I think if you're the Wizards, that is something you can criticize management about. I think that would have been an easier contract to move or trade if you're going to make a trade. Especially you wait till the postseason, you wait till the trade deadline happens. The team really wants a point guard. No one's going to want Jordan Poole. Like, who the fuck wants Jordan Poole in their team who's going for a championship? That'd be if he turns it around, edit that into a dubstep track, give it to the Bob Charlie guy, whatever, who hates me, and make a video. That's what I'd say to everybody. Just start your own YouTube channel. It's really easy. I did it. I'm fucking stupid. There'll be 10,000 Raptors YouTube channels in like 5 years, and no one will care about this one. But now it's pretty like open season. There's only like 7 of them. Jesus Christ, LOL. As soon as I hear death penalty, the vacation's a wrap. Yeah, why the fuck did I go to Singapore? I don't even remember like why we went there. Like to see our friend, but Marina Gardens was cool. But yeah, just in general, it's like $2,000 fine for jaywalking, $2,000 fine for singing in public, $2,000 fine for like spitting, 2,000. Like, it's just like, holy shit, man. Like, yeah, Singapore's kind of wild. They should have a Vancouver street. That's what I was thinking too. I went for a little walk around the neighborhood and I'm like, there's got to be more. But I think they just stopped at Toronto and Ontario. But we were literally staying on Toronto Street. And so here's a cool fact. Not really, but I was on Toronto Street in Singapore before I was in Toronto. And I've actually only ever spent 2 days in Toronto my whole life. And it was basically on a flight. It was because I was flying somewhere. I didn't want to do the whole like long ass flight. So I was like, you know what? I'll go to Toronto. There's a weed expo at the fucking convention center, I think, across from the CBC Peter Mansbridge sign. Is that still there? But it was there back then. It was during the coldest spree I think Toronto's had in like 10 years. And my genius move was to stay in the ice condos right on the lake, pretty much with the wind coming off of it. And I was like, that's really smart. And I was told that the fucking path, they were like the people who I was going to meet at the business conference that I worked with. They're like, oh yeah, everything is like underground. It doesn't matter where you stay downtown Toronto. You can just bring your leather jacket and a dress shirt, and it's minus 32 with wind chill. It's like minus 40 or something. This was January 2019, if anybody remembers. And yeah, you can just walk underground everywhere. That was not true. I ended up spending an insane amount of money Ubering. Dude, I'm embarrassed about this, but I Ubered from I didn't really know where I was going, but I Ubered from Union Station to the ice condos. And I had no idea it was that. When I got into the car, it was a Ukrainian dude, and I'm Ukrainian. And I was like, oh, cool, like a Ukrainian guy. And then 24 seconds later, it's like, all right, we're here at 12 York, whatever. I was like, oh, I probably could have walked. Yeah, my Toronto trip kind of sucked, but it's the first time I've ever shared an Airbnb too. And I had 2 different guests there. Like the first guest was really cool. Potential like marriage material. I'm not even joking. Potential marriage material. But she left, and then a psychotic woman came in, and I was afraid to leave my stuff. It was like never doing that again. It's nuts for true crime. Yeah. Okay. Bit behind here. Nameless. I'd have zappers and electric paddles everywhere in my back pocket. For what? I missed something. It's Hermes Curry, bro. It's probably fun for him since there's no expectations. Yeah, that's that's in a way you're just kind of like playing. It's almost like a childlike thing that Jordan Poole gets to experience. You get to just hoop and shoot, and what's his usage rate? It's probably 28, 29, maybe 30% even. I think he just has the green light to gun it. Not expected to really play defense. Yeah, if you're, what is Jordan Poole, 23 or something? Yeah, sure it'd be a lot of fun. I think it'd be fun for a year and then you'd get bored maybe, but yeah, I'm sure there's a dynamic of that that's really fucking fun. They're finally taking a step in the right direction, the Wizards. Yeah, I agree. Like it looks really shitty now, but like you kind of have to, like they're one of like, I'm not a big like tanky in this sense of the word, but I think with the Wizards, like you don't really have any other choice at this point. Like you've just been the Wizards for fucking way too long. When the 2015 run or something, they got swept in the second round. Poole can be a cool spark plug off the bench for a contender. I mean, I guess so, but it's an expensive fucking $32 million spark plug, and what are you giving up for that if you're on a championship run? Get caught stealing in the UAE and lose your hand. I watched one video called The Slaves of Dubai, like how slaves built Dubai. And I've just been like, yeah, I have no like desire to go there. I think I've seen pictures of Dubai. Where I was living in Thailand, there's a big Thailand Dubai thing that people go back and forth. Like, oh, I'm going to be in Dubai next week. Oh, I'm in Bangkok. Now I'm in Dubai. I don't know. To me, it just looks like a big like water park or something. I don't know. It just doesn't look real, or like AI or something. It's out of the, how many countries are in the world? Like 197 or something, or maybe more than that. Yeah, the Dubai and what's Abu Dhabi or whatever. It's gonna be like, I'd way rather go to Jordan in that region and see like Petra and shit, or like Beirut, little Anthony Bourdain. Leather jacket. They were trying to get you killed. Yeah, fuck, man. When I felt that cold, the first time I felt that real Toronto cold, I almost like my body just like shut down. It was on Simcoe or Lower Simcoe or something, and the underpass by the water. There's a pet store there, and I just stepped outside and it just hit, like, I'm from Vancouver. -3 is insane. Like -3, I don't go outside. And so yeah, it was just like, it just, I mean, if you're in Toronto, maybe you grew up with it, you already knew, but like, man. And another guy from Vancouver was there too, and he was wearing his like Birkenstocks, his shoes, and like we were trying to find shit. And I did do one walk from that street, whatever street that is, under the overpass by the ice condos, Simcoe up to the basically walking from like Scotiabank Arena to the CN Tower. Like I did that walk one morning when the sun was out, and even that, like by the time I got there, I was just, and I had 4 coffees, and I was at a social networking thing, which I fucking hate. I don't even know, whatever, but that's my Toronto trip. Balzac's coffee was the highlight for me. Shouts if you've been to Balzac's. I wear a hoodie and a bomber jacket. We wash our balls with -3. I don't know what that means, but I guess that means you're used to it. So that's cool. I'll probably move to Toronto someday eventually if I really want to like do basketball stuff or do anything in basketball, but I don't see it happening like next. Probably do like Brazil or Argentina or something, and then Toronto. We'll see, but I think that's pretty much it. What are we at? We hit over an hour. I didn't think I'd make it over an hour because there wasn't a lot to really like discuss. Like there weren't a lot of this was just a hilarious game. Like just to recap briefly, first half just, I mean, don't look at my tweets from the first half of this game, please. It's shitty too because like once I get like halfway through the third quarter, I'm already thinking about this broadcast. Like I want to start it right when the game ends. So I get my title ready. I got the thumbnail ready, get my lights ready, my little notepad ready, make sure my microphone's working, get my fucking water, which I haven't sipped yet really. And so I'm not really like putting out shit. And today was kind of those funny things where like I just kind of cut myself off after like halftime. So apologies to the timeline. It was pretty rough in the first half. And you got, Sportsnet running LaMelo Ball commercials during the broadcast. You've got Bet Rivers clipping fucking free throws again, which, yeah, I mean, that's why you fast forward free throws in my opinion. The first real energy was Grady and Boucher coming off the bench. They were the first two I felt that really like, shot in the arm type of deal. Really gave the Raptors life, and then Siakam just fucking cooked from then on. And I would love to see Siakam's like second half plus minus. I don't know if you can look. I don't know. Someone smart can look that up or find out how to look that up. But yeah, once he goes off the bench and they lose the bit of energy, he comes back on the bench and they're fucking rolling again. So Tony Wonder Award definitely goes to Pascal. And Veal Award, kind of want to give it to Jakob, but not really. Keep giving it to Thad. Give it to Thad and Garrett Temple. I don't really understand Thad and Garrett Temple's, like, are they just literally just vibes? Like, literally just vets? What are Thad and Garrett Temple's combined minutes this season? It's got to be under 20. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's weird to me that McDaniel. We're an hour and 7 minutes in, but it's weird to me that McDaniels is, even though he's only getting 5 minutes, he's getting in on it instead of them. But I mean, I guess they really want to give him a shot. There was rumors that Marquise Noel would get a couple minutes or something, but that didn't happen. I think that was before the game. And yeah, the Raptors, they closed the game with a 22-1 run, chock full of Jordan Poole biffing layups, Kyle Kuzma. Again, that's like the worst play of the game for me. You can't step out of bounds with 5 seconds left in a one possession game. Like, you can do anything else pretty much, but at least if you just throw the ball in the air, at least there's like, I don't know, 40-50% chance that like you might get it or somebody might get it. But just to step out of bounds like that when you're being guarded, like, I don't know. It's just, and you're not even in like the flow of a shot. Like, sometimes maybe if you're about to take like a corner three or something and you got to do some fancy footwork and somebody's playing really good defense on you, and like I could like understand that at some level, but you're not even mid shot. Like you're literally just getting the ball in the inbounds, being really good defense by Scotty. You can't take that away from him. Scotty, great defense tonight. Great defense on that play on Kuzma, but he just like steps. I don't know. Like if I'm a coach, I'm just like, what are you doing? It's just inexcusable. I mean, if you're tanking, I don't think the players are tanking though, so inexcusable from the Kuz, who, 34 points for the Kuz, but just some fucking brain farts down the stretch. Raptors survive a game with it says only had 16 turnovers. I thought there was more than that. Maybe I accidentally said there was 22. Kuzma 6 turnovers. Siakam 6 turnovers. Okay, now I'm just reading the box. Now that's when it's time to wrap it up. There's some. You got any pets, Raptor moments? There's a family dog, but that's pretty much it. I want to have a dog and a cat rescue at some point. That's like the big plan, and then I don't know if you guys saw the Corgi playoff thing where it was the Warriors, I guess, and the Lakers, I think, and they did like the Corgi like bouncing the ball down the stairs. And then during the World Series with the Phillies, there was the duck. Like they put the ducks in the river with like one with the Phillies, one with I think it was the Diamondbacks or something. And then it's just like, you film it down the river and people can like put bets or whatever. I'm like, fuck, man, that would be like an actual interesting way to do sports betting. But if you had an animal rescue, you could integrate this. This is why I want to move to Brazil or Argentina first. Maybe Colombia. I spent 5 months in Colombia 2019, so I know the lay of the land. But I want to inspect other places as well. Have a second home outside of Canada because shit is fucking expensive here. Learned that from my dad a long time ago. He moved to Mexico. Grew up going down there a bunch, so that got drilled into my brain pretty early. Like, have a second fucking... I mean, I don't really even have a first, but, have a 1.5. So got some places narrowed down. No one in Toronto is used to the cold. Every year we forget it snows and cry until May. That's like Vancouver with rain, pretty much. What's the wind like in Toronto? I guess you can't play basketball outside though if the ground's fucked. That would suck. Like in Vancouver when there's snow, I just play with a med ball. It's like an excuse for me to play with a med ball because I'm not gonna be bouncing it. So I play with a 4 or 6 pound med ball. But if the ground is like sleet, then I guess you can't play. That would suck. For me, in Vancouver, what sucks about hooping outside is like October, November-ish. You get these days where it's so fucking windy and it's cloudy, and like one minute it's cloudy. Again, sorry, we're like an hour and 11 minutes into the thing, so I'm just rambling at this point. That's the worst because the wind is like fucking up the ball, obviously. And then the sun and the sun will be out and it'll be like 14 or like 18 degrees even sometimes. And then the clouds will come and the wind is still there. And then when the sun's blocked, it just, with the wind, it feels like it's like 3 degrees or something. And your body is like roasting, but then your skin is fucking frozen and you're taking your hoodie off, you're putting your hoodie on, you're taking your hoodie off. It's just that I hate more than, give me pouring. I would take torrential rain with no wind and just give me the torrential rain. I'll wear a hat, a hoodie and a sweater and track pants and I'll just get fucking soaked. It's a 30-minute walk for me pretty much. So I'm already soaked by the time I get there. And then I'll just play for 3-4 hours, get absolutely drenched, get home and like, for some reason, I take a cold bath after, which is kind of insane. But I guess the conditions in Toronto are shitty when the ground's frozen. When does that start? That would not be fun. Community center, YMCA ball. Yeah, I guess you got to go inside. I just like being outside. I don't know. Set up my gymnastics rings and frighten families in the surrounding area. I get really like I was playing a couple weeks ago and a bunch of people just came and like set up their strollers on the basketball court. They're fucking baby strollers on the basketball court. Like as I'm shooting, like not right under where I'm shooting, but like close enough where I have to be cognizant of it. It's a huge fucking court, or it's a huge fucking park. And I wanted to make a video and be like, this is why Vancouver will never get a basketball team and why they do not deserve to get a basketball team ever again. Because of the disrespect to the sport and the way people disrespect. They close my favorite court in the summer for a fucking beer garden. The Steve Nash court. It's beautiful. It's painted, crazy painting. It's right next to a skate park. On one side, it's a skate park. On the other side, it's an Italian gardens. It's fucking beautiful. They closed it down for a beer garden and they started doing it as I was fucking shooting. They started putting their tables out and I just kept shooting. I had my headphones in. I was like, I don't give a fuck about you. I don't give a like. You have to physically remove me from this court. I don't care if my ball's hitting your tables. I don't give a shit. I actually know Steve Nash through family personally, as you know, I've told that story a bunch of times. But like, I will make phone calls. Like, I don't care. Like, I fucking hate this. I hate how disrespected basketball is in this city. That's my basketball Vancouver rant. Wow, we gotta end it, I think, on that. All right.